every door. Stories shared and wisdom's call for businesses.
Grow Your Business Pinoy? Have you been running your business for years but feel like you're going around in circles? Anak, parang stuck ka, scattered, and you're not quite sure where the next right step is and what it is. So Grow Your Business Pinoy is a book that gives you a clear, step-by-step growth roadmap. It's practical, proven, and built for the realities of running a business in the Philippines. Wala nang guessing, wala nang doing everything and going nowhere. Just a clear path forward. Finally, get your copy now, anak. The link is in the comment section. Hello, beautiful business-minded people! Welcome to the exciting episode of our Meet My Friend series. So anak, ito ba ang dialogue natin? Kumikita naman ang business ko pero hindi ko alam kung saan napupunta ang pera. Sinasabi ba natin sa sarili natin yan? O kaya ganito, maraming gastos mamiin araw-araw pero hindi ko din alam kung tama ba ang mga expenses ko. Yung iba naman, ang sabi sa akin is, mamiin, ang accountant ko ang bahala sa lahat. Basta sinabi niyang okay, okay na rin ako. Ganun ba? How many times have we said these words to ourselves, anak? Ako guilty ako dyan. No? Sinasabi ko sa sarili ko, kumikita naman, no? Kumikita naman kami. Nagtatrabaho naman kami ng husto. Pero sa dulo ng buwan, nagtataka pa rin kami kung nasaan na ang pera. Dahil pagbukas namin ng drawer, teka, asan ang pera? No? So, what if I told you that the chaos you feel in your finances is not because you are bad at business? Kala namin bad kami sa business dati eh. Hindi pala. No? It's just because nobody taught you the simple system that makes everything make sense. Dapat meron pala tayong sistemang sinusunod na hindi natin alam. No? Kaya ngayon, today, we will discover why your business finance and accounting feels chaotic. Take note ha, magkaiba yung business finance at accounting. No? So why your business finance and accounting feels chaotic and how to fix it step by step. With a very special guest naman who has helped so many Filipino business owners finally understand their numbers, tapos and take back the control of their money. Kaya, stay with us until the end because our guest here who can really teach us. Now, this is really something very, very special for you today that you don't want to miss. Pero, before we start, anak, I would like to give you a short intro kasi first time nyo pa lang akong nami-meet. Okay, and I'm a business owner. I have always been a business owner since 40 plus years ago. Dati teacher po ako na naging business owner. Pero nung nasa business na, naging Chowking franchisee po kami for 18 years, STI College licensee for 28 years, plus marami pang other businesses. Marami kasing nagtatanong kung ano yung mga negosyo namin. So now we are in the jewelry business and I have already turned over the jewelry businesses to my children. Kaya now that I'm retired, I'm a mentor helping business owners like you grow easier and faster. And dahil doon, marami po akong nagawang videos at posts. Araw-araw, ginagawa ko yon para sa inyo for free so that you can learn from my 40 plus years of business experience. Tapos, every Tuesday, marami rin kaming educational topics. Pinipili ko yung mga topics na makakatulong sa inyong business. Kasi sana, no, nung 40 years ago, nagkaroon ng mga experts na tulad ng mga guests natin para hindi ako nahirapan. Ayokong mahirapan kayo na tulad ng mga paghihirap na pinagdaanan ko. Kaya I'd like to invite all these guests to come and teach dahil hindi naman lahat ng bagay sa negosyo alam ko, di ba? Kaya to keep updated para alam ninyo kung ano yung mga topics na pag-uusapan namin at kung sino-sino yung magiging guests namin, please sign up sa mommynegosyo.com. Yes, that's mommynegosyo.com. Meron doong sign up link. Sign up kayo, no? Fill out your name and your email so that pwede namin kayong padalhan ng mga emails kung may mga ganap kaming tulad nito, no? The link again is in the chat and pinned in the comments. Okay. So, super excited ako. Sabi ko nga sa inyo, anak, pangalawang beses niya nang mag-guest to. Kaya, I'm very, very excited. At ang reason kung bakit pinili ko tong topic na to ay dahil napakaraming business owners ang sobrang sipag magtrabaho araw-araw. I'm sure ganun ka rin. May sales naman, pero pagdating ng katapusan ng buwan, hindi pa rin tayo sigurado kung kumikita ba talagang negosyo natin, di ba? Hindi rin natin alam kung tama ba ang gastos natin araw-araw. Kaya madalas, umaasa na lang tayo sa accountant para sa mga numbers. That's why when I learned ng ating guest today, ay lalo nang lumalim yung kanyang pagdive sa accounting at saka sa HR data, no? So when I learned how he is able to help business owners better understand their finances, alam ko kaagad that he is someone who can help you understand your finances better too. Yan, no? Kaya ayoko ng maraming daldal. Tanungin na natin siya kaagad. So let's welcome my inspiring friend, Sir Dennis Hilario. Yan, Sir Dennis, welcome, welcome. Bago tayo mag-dive sa ating topic ngayon, Sir Dennis, hindi kita pinagsalita, pero alam ko, you're very happy to be here. So, pwede bang pakishare yung iyong buhay dito sa ating mga viewers, no? Pakishare lang, sino pa talaga si Sir Dennis? Sino ka? Ano yung ginagawa mo? Alam ko, hindi siya accountant, no? And why you're so passionate about helping business owners na maayos yung finance and accounting nila kahit na hindi ka accountant. Yan.
Yes. Well, first of all, thank you so much, Mami, and for inviting me again here. And good afternoon to you and to everyone. Again, thank you so much. So, my name is Dennis Hilario. Basically, I am a business consultant. I'm a digital transformation advisor and founder of Digital Transformation Academy. So for more than 25 years, I've been helping SMEs improve the way they run their business, no, from hindi lang accounting actually. From accounting, operations, even inventory management, human resource management, sales and digital marketing, and systems implementation. So as a background, I started my career back in 2001. Actually, 1999 was my first job. No, my first job was a programmer. And then when I was in employment, I read the book of, I'm sure you know this, from Robert Kiyosaki, Rich Dad Poor Dad. So from that book, it got me inspired in launching my own startup or business. And then our first project back in 2001 was to develop the first online accounting software here in the Philippines. So long story short, the business became successful. Hindi lang siya naging accounting software but also evolved into inventory and to full ERP system. So again, my background started in software and then naging business process automation. So over the years, I've seen one common problem across SMEs. No? Marami negosyo, according nga kay Mami N, na malakas ang sales, masipag ang owner, maganda ang product, pero pagdating sa numbers, nalilito pa rin. And that is where my passion really comes from. So I believe accounting should not just be for compliance or tax filing purposes.
Yes.
No? I think kumukuha tayo ng accountant only for compliance. No? It should help the owner understand dapat the business. It should answer questions like, kumita ba talaga tayo? Saan napupunta ang pera? Kaya ba natin mag-hire, expand? No? Or aling product and service natin ang profitable? Because when the numbers are unclear, then the owner becomes stressed, di ba? The owner becomes reactive rather than proactive. But when numbers are clear, so yung decision making natin is, mas confident tayo when we decide on things, or for example, we decide to expand. So again, that is why I'm passionate about helping business owners fix their finance and accounting. Not just to clean up the books, but to give them clarity, control, and confidence in growing their business. Yun po.
Yan, thank you very much, no? Kaya actually sa mga nanonood, gusto kong malaman ninyo na kuminsan, pag accountant ang pinag-explain natin ng accounting, lalong hindi natin maintindihan. Kasi they come from the point of view nila is accounting, bookkeeping. No? Samantalang kung negosyante tulad ni Sir Dennis, iba ang atake sa accounting. Maiintindihan natin kasi alam niya kung ano yung mga pain points. Bakit ba natin kailangan ng accounting? Bakit ba importante yung mga numbers na yon, na hindi lang basta bahala na si bookkeeper, no, or bahala na si accountant. Kailangan kilala natin, alam natin. At to even share something that I went through, no, kaya nagkautang-utang, nagkagulo-gulo yung buhay namin dahil hindi ako maalam sa accounting. Accounting is not mathematics. Actually, yung master's degree ko was in math. Pero accounting is not mathematics. Accounting is just accounting. Aalamin natin kung saan napunta ang pera. I'm sure mas ma-explain ni Sir Dennis yan mamaya, no? Kaya thank you very much for sharing that, no, Sir Dennis.
Thank you, Mami Ann.
All right. So, the next question, or the first question rather, that I would like to ask Dennis after asking him to introduce himself is, Sir Dennis, experience mo, no? Bakit kaya yung pera or kaperahan is so confusing in a small business? Bakit kaya kung minsan hindi sila kumikita o hindi kami kumikita kahit na okay naman ang benta namin?
Good first question, Mami Ann. So, well, to answer that easily, money feels confusing kasi because people think that sales and cash are the same thing. But in reality, it's totally different. Kaya nga sinasabi natin ang cash flow is king. No? Sabihin, kahit sa PNL natin, we are profitable, we are positive. Pero it doesn't always equate na we are cash flow positive. So a lot of small business owners are, see good sales and assume their business is healthy. Pero minsan, mataas ang sales. Pero I'm sure marami naka-experience ito, mahirap ang collection, di ba? So, yung asset natin, instead of nasa cash, nasa receivables. Secondly, is that we are not, doing proper costing. So, sa P&L kasi ang component niyan, meron tayong top line, which is the gross sales, and then meron tayong tinatawag na direct cost or cost of sold. So, we are not vigilant in maintaining yung healthy cost of goods sold, then dun pa lang magkakaroon tayo ng problem sa profitability. Okay? Another one is may tinatawag na debt to equity ratio. So sorry, medyo technical, no? So ang tendency kasi natin is that dahil mahina yung collection, ang gut feel natin, ang first instinct natin is umutang, di ba? Para meron tayong panggalaw, meron tayong pang cash flow. Another thing is that marami tayong inventory pero hindi gumagalaw, and wala tayong visibility on that. So that's another reason ko bakit na nako-confuse. Mataas ang sales pero in reality, maraming holding cost because ang daming inventory or product na hindi nabibenta. Another thing, may mga tax obligations, for example, na hindi rin natin napaghahandaan. Especially if we are ignorant in tax management. Nagugulat na lang tayo, meron tayong LOA, sumabog na. At the end of the day, marami tayong penalties. So on paper, the business looks okay. But in the bank account, laging kulang. And the problem is usually really not the effort. Kasi tayo naman as business owners, lagi tayong hardworking, di ba? Lagi tayong vigilant sa operations. Pero ang problem is visibility. Okay? We don't have a clear picture of where the money is coming from. Where it is going, saan yung flow, and magkano lang talaga ang natira. We don't know our cash position or our financial position, to be technical about it. In other terms, that's the balance sheet and the profit and loss. Yun yung ating financial statements. That's why, in summary, accounting is not just compliance. Actually, the financial dashboard, the financial position in business. Kapag magulo ang dashboard natin, kahit magaling kang driver, mahirap mag-desisyon. So, again, to answer that question, naku-confuse tayo because we don't have a proper financial dashboard.
Yan. So, financial dashboard. So, parang parang ang nai-imagine ko is kapag nagda-drive tayo, pag nagmamaneho tayo ng sasakyan, just imagine, sumasakay tayo ng sasakyan, tapos yung driver, hindi niya nakikita yung dashboard, yung sa harap ng kanyang sasakyan. Hindi niya alam kung marami pa ba siyang gasolina, matutuyo na ba yung kanyang mga oil at kung mga ano. Parang hindi ako marunong mag-drive, pero alam kong napaka-importante yung nandoon sa harap ng driver. Kailangan alam niya kung anong nangyayari sa kanyang sasakyan. Tulad din yan ng doktor, bago sila magbibigay ng gamot, hindi ba? Hindi naman pagpunta natin sa doktor, gamot ka agad. Aalamin nila kung may lagnat ka ba, checkin ba yung heartbeat and all of those other things. Kailangan alam natin kung ano ang nangyayari sa pasyente. Same with business. Tayo kasi sa business, ako guilty ako dyan, no? Kala ko basta benta lang ng benta. Actually, yung mga teacher nga, no, na teacher na nagtuturo ng entrepreneurship, kung minsan kala nga nila ang negosyo ay bentahan lang. Hindi po, ang bentahan is just one part of the business. Kung narinig nyo yung mga sinabi na shinare ni Sir Dennis, no, tungkol sa costing, mga pautang, ang nakabenta ka nga, kaso pautang nabawasan nga yung binibenta mo, kaso wala namang pumasok na pera. Importante yun, ano? Tapos yung nabenta mo at yung talagang tunay na puhunan mo, baka hindi mo na-compute ng mabuti. Kaya akala mo, okay ka, kumikita ka na. Tapos kung minsan naman, dahil nga nabenta mo na, kaso hindi pa nagbabayad, ang inisip mo ay kailangan kong mangutang. Kaya yung mga negosyante na sinasabi na kulang ng kapital, kala ko, yun, sinasabi ko rin yan, kulang lang ng kapital. Pero ngayon, ang alam ko, kapag kulang na ang kapital natin, ibig sabihin may problema yung negosyo natin. Hindi tama yung pagpapalakad natin. Kasi hindi dapat tayo na nagkukulang ang ating kapital. At ang solusyon ay hindi mangutang. Kaya kami, pagkakamali namin, pag kulang na yung kapital, nangungutang kami. Halimbawa, bumili kami ng mga items, tapos inutang, wala na kaming i-display. Paano yun? Siyempre, hindi pwedeng magbenta ng walang display. So, kaso hindi pa nagbabayad yung iba. Kaya mangungutang kami. And doon kami nadali, doon nagkapatong-patong-patong yung aming mga utang. No? Kaya, sabi nga ni Sir Dennis, yung pera ang importante. Cash flow is king. Kaya kung malabo para sa atin yan, no? Kasi nakikita natin na, ay, ano ba yung accounting na yan? Lista-lista, nakakapagod lang yan. Then, hindi clear yung ating financial dash. And therefore, malabo. Pag messy ang accounting natin, how does it affect yung buong negosyo, including yung team and yung mga decision-making ng may-ari?
Ayun po, thank you, Mami. So, I think it's obvious na if messy ang accounting natin, it creates, nabanggit ko na rin, messy rin ang decisions natin. So maraming mga mistakes and chaos sa decisions natin. Kasi pag unclear nga ang numbers natin, ano nangyayari? We as business owners, we decide based on feelings, no? Based on pressure or whatever cash is available, on that particular moment. Sabi ko nga, may mga questions. Should we hire now? Should we buy inventory? Should we open a branch? Or should we increase yung budget natin sa ads? Okay, diba? So yung mga yon, lahat we are all guessing, diba? So it also affects the team because unclear finances usually lead to yung priority na natin, hindi rin natin masabi kung ano. Kasi for example, yung purchasing natin may overbuy. Kasi nga based on gut feel, akala natin we have to buy this number of products to sell kasi based on gut feel ito yung mabenta. Pero if we have visibility of the fast-moving products, for example, then meron tayong solid na decision making kung ano yung dapat na product na binibili natin. Another example is yung sales team natin lagi nagbibigay ng discount just to close deals. Pero in reality, kumakain na yun sa margin natin kasi wala nga tayong, say for example, gross profit analysis. Yun yung mga ratio na tinitingnan kasi if we have a sound balance sheet and financial statements. Okay? Another thing, probably operations may accept new projects without knowing na if it's really profitable. Minsan, hindi natin alam na ang taas nung cost natin sa isang project, tapos ang fee natin mababa lang just because of para lang makuha natin yung project. So again, ang daming mga decision in business as you know, day to day na pag wala tayong visibility of the numbers, lahat yun puro hula lang. And ang laki ng percentage of error. So eventually, the owner becomes the bottleneck because every payment, every purchase, every approval goes through the owner. Because indeed, they don't trust the numbers kasi, diba? Because again, wala silang numbers. So it becomes an operation problem, a people problem, and a growth problem. Actually, it's chaotic. So yun lang, Mami, and talaga ang effect ng messy accounting.
Yes, and dahil nga chaotic, ang gulo-gulo, at actually maraming opportunity pa na malulugi tayo. So, marami akong mga coaching clients na ang tanong sa akin, Mami En, kailan ba namin alam kung kailan kami pwedeng magpa-franchise? Kasi maraming nagtatanong sa amin kung magbibigay daw kami ng franchise. Yung iba naman nagtatanong, Mami En, kailan ba namin malalaman kung pwede na ba kaming magbukas ng pangalawang branch? Okay? Tapos yung iba naman, Mami En, paano namin malalaman kung okay ba itong ads namin, no? Sa Facebook, mag-a-ads ba kami? O kaya sa radio? O kaya sa TV? Lahat ng desisyon na yan, ang tanong ko sa kanila is, bakit na-compute nyo ba kung magkano yung pumasok dahil sa ginawa ninyong desisyon? Sa marketing, yung ginawa ninyong desisyon, magkano yung in-invest ninyo, magkano yung binayad nyo for ads, tapos magkano yung nakuha ninyong benta? At doon ba sa nakuha ninyong benta, nakuha nyo ba yun dahil sa discounts lang? Kasi sa kadi-discount natin, kung minsan wala nang natitira sa atin, no? Mga marketing decisions. No? Tsaka yung branching, paano nating malalaman? Ako, napakadelikado po na mag-branch. Please, wag po kayong magbubukas ng branch kung hindi maayos yung inyong financials. Kasi instead na lumago yung negosyo, mas mabilis pang babagsak ang negosyo natin. No? For the desire na gusto nating lumaki ang sales at mas maraming matulungan, lalo tayong maapektuhan. Kaya the decision making is really very important. Alright, so lumampas na tayo sa ating half-hour mark. Sir Dennis, nasa kalagitnaan na tayo ng ating show. Is it okay if we have a quick for a group photo with our viewers?
Yes, Mamian, of course.
Nag-train ka na ng mga tao mo. Balik pa rin sa iyo lahat. Anak, hindi ka pagod dahil mahina ang team mo. Pagod ka kasi walang sistema. Get One Task Off Your Plate is a mini course that teaches you to delegate one task the right way, so you never have to retrain for it again. Walang fancy tools, walang malaking team needed. Just one clear system that finally sticks. Kaya enroll now, anak. The link is in the comment section. Yan, no? Maiksing video lang yan, maiksing video course. Get One Task Off Your Plate. Kung ang tanong is, paano ba mag-delegate? Bakit pabalik-balik yung trabaho sa akin? May sistema po yan. Sabi nga ni Sir Dennis, importante ang sistema. So, ito yung sistemang natutunan ko over 40 years on how to really delegate the right way. Para isang beses lang yung pag-delegate, hindi na pabalik-balik. No? So, nandyan ang link. Okay. I want to ask Sir Dennis question number 3. So ito, Sir Dennis, kapag meron sa ating mga nanonood ngayon na business owner na gustong mag-umpisa na maayos yung kanilang finances, paano ang first step? How do they start?
Yeah. All right. So again, thank you, Mami. So I'm sure maraming guilty dito. Yung first step is i-separate natin ang personal money and ang business. So most of us, lalo na yung mga nag-start, is that are always tempted na paghaluin yung mga transactions nila sa personal and business. Kasi if we do that, then distorted yung information natin, no? Kasi nahahaluan ng personal expenses yung ating business. So in effect, yung profit and loss natin is not the reality na nangyayari sa business. So that's one. That sounds basic, but many small businesses, like I said, still mix the two. Alright. So second is we have to start recording everything consistently. When you say everything, all transactions from sales, expenses, receivables if there's any, payables, loans, no, even yung mga withdrawals natin from the business, inventory purchases. So everything must be captured. There's a famous author, si Tim Ferriss, no. Siya yung author ng 4-Hour Workweek. And sabi niya dun sa quote niya is efficiency is doing the right things. Doing things right, no? And effectiveness is doing the right things. Ano ibig sabihin nun? Okay? As a business owner or as a person, meron tayong intuitive way to record transaction. Okay? Meaning, anong gagawin natin at first? Magbubukas tayo ng Google Sheet or Excel, then lahat ng sales natin doon ipapasok natin sa Excel. Tapos lahat ng purchases ipapasok natin sa another sheet doon sa Excel and what have you. Now, well, efficient tayo, no? That we are, recording everything. But can we say that it is effective? Okay? And most of us guilty dyan. nire-record natin, but it's not effective. Bakit? Because at the end of the day, we don't have the proper format ng report. Okay? Ano ba mga report? Yung sinabi natin kanina, financial dashboard, profit and loss, balance sheet, cash flow statement, cash position, and what have you. So, sinasabi ko dito is that first is discipline and recording transactions. And then second is learning ano yung effective way of recording transaction. Actually, pag nagbukas tayo ng business, isa sa minamandate ni BIR is yung book of accounts. No? Ano ba yan? Sales book, purchase book, cash disbursement book, ano pa? Cash receipts book. We have the general ledger and general journal. Actually, that's the first framework that we should understand. And it is a sound framework. Meron tinatawag kasi na Generally Accepted Accounting Principles, no? Or GAAP. So yung GAAP na yan, it was designed by the entity sa financials, no? Na ang sinasabi diyan is that ito yung best way in recording transaction. Okay? So, anong impact nun? Yes, mas tedious siyang gawin. Kasi, for example, pag meron tayong sales, anong ginagawa? We prepare a sales invoice. Then, after we prepare the sales invoice, dapat dyan, we record it in the sales journal. After we record ng sales journal, then we record it sa general ledger. Actually, tedious siyang gawin. Pero, that's the effective way because now, we know where the money is going. Kasi sa general ledger pa lang, alam natin kung saan, ano yung pasok at labas ng pera natin and anong mga accounts ang affected. Did it affect sales? Did it affect expenses? And what have you. Now, ang good news is we don't have to do it manually, right? Merong mga software in the market that we can use na madaling gamitin and maraming tutorials online kung paano siya gamitin. Like for example, yung QuickBooks, we have Odoo, we have Zero Accounting, we have a lot options in the market. But before using that, the first step is a decision as a business owner na starting today, we will diligently record our transactions. Okay, may konting technical, thing there. But again, if we are committed to and we are convinced na we need visibility, then we will be motivated to learn at least the basics in doing it. So, in reality, you do not need a complicated system immediately. Yung mga ERP na tinatawag and what have you. What you need is clean records, then clear categories on every transaction, and a consistent, committed habit to review yung finances natin. The goal is not just prepare reports, but the goal is to help us make better decisions. So I hope I have answered the question po clearly.
Yes, thank you very much, no, Sir Dennis. I am listening to what you shared, pero ang nakita ko talaga, ang pinaka-importante is yung decision. Yung pag-decide. Sabi mo, first of all, ito nakakatawa, kwento ko lang, no? Yung isang coaching client ko, imagine, nagulat ako, million na yung kanilang sales. Okay? Million. Pero hanggang ngayon, nakahalo pa rin yung kanilang personal at saka business money. Kaya, nalaman ko na marami palang negosyante na gano'n, na nakahalo. No? So, ang decision na i-separate ay ang first one. No? Ang pag-separate ay, first of all, you have to decide, okay, from now on, starting today, no, June 16, hihiwalay ko na. No? So, that's the first thing. Sabi ni Sir Dennis, yung pangalawa is commitment. Nag-decide ka na, so gawin mo na tuloy-tuloy. Kahit na mahirap, kahit na boring, kahit na busy ka, kahit na pagod ka, itutuloy natin. Kasi pag inumpisahan natin at hindi natin tinuloy-tuloy, walang mangyayari sa atin. Okay? So, when we say separate yung personal at saka business money, hindi lang yung pera, pati GCash. Kailangan nakahiwalay yung GCash ng personal at saka GCash na pangnegosyo. No, yung mga kung ano pa, mga bank account. In fact, I would recommend that talagang the first thing you do is to get a salary. Decide on a salary that you deserve na kaya din ng negosyo. Tapos ihiwalay mo na. No, kung sa GCash yan, i-move mo na. Ako personally, ang sweldo ko sa aking negosyo ay naka-GCash. Kasi lahat naman ng gagastusin ko ay nasa GCash. So, pag at the end of the month, kukuha na ako ng amount, itatransfer ko na sa personal GCash account ko. At doon lang ako gumagastos. Lahat ng aking Grab, lahat ng aking mga kung ano-anong babayarin, no? doon sa GCash. At kung may sobra, actually sineset aside yung isang sobra, there is such a thing called GSave. Doon ko na rin nilalagay para nakahiwalay na talaga siya from the business. Very simple, but that is something we can do. And kung minsan mahirap, kung minsan masakit kasi pag makita natin, ay naku, konti na lang natira sa atin. Well, just be committed. Just do it and say na siguro pag lumaki-laki na yung sales ko, pwede ko nang itaas yung sarili kong sweldo. So that is what worked for me and what worked for my coaching clients. Yan, no? Kailangan may sistema. Kaya anak, kung ngayon pa lang naisip mo na gusto mong ayusin yung iyong finances, always make the decision and commit to it. And the important thing is, sundin natin yung letter S na systems. Kasi ang tamang system ang magko-convert ng ating kaguluhan into clarity. At ang clarity ang magbibigay sa atin ng confidence para makapaggawa ng tamang business decisions. Yan. Okay. And talking about making the right decisions for your business, no, I have something that can help you with that, no, konting plugging lang dito. Meron akong sinulat na ebook specially for you. No? Ang title ay Smart Partnering, 5 Steps to Make the Right Decisions for Your Business. So, simpleng guide lang to para ma-protect yung iyong negosyo by choosing the right business partner and making better decisions. So, para sa mga nanonood today, just for today, hanggang midnight lang, no? The special price is at $199. Bukas, babalik na po sa regular pricing. Kaya, grab your copy now. Ito, yung link is in the comment section. Okay, so, question number 4. Ano ang pinakamalaking warning sign, Sir Dennis, na ang negosyo, no, ang owner ng isang negosyo ay may problema na sa kanilang money problems at nasasaktan na yung kanilang growth?
Yes, actually, sasagutin ko yan ng two types of answers. Yung one answer kasi yung medyo technical. Very quick lang ito. Kasi if we have visibility talaga, we have that financial dashboard na sinasabi natin kanina, madaling makita yun yung mga warning sign na yan. May mga tinatawag na financial ratios as I mentioned earlier. One example is gross profit ratio or gross profit margin. So yung gross profit margin natin is not within the healthy limits. For example, in food business, usually yan ang tinitingnan ng mga food business owners is that dapat ang cost nila is roughly about hindi tataas ng 30 to 40%. Tumaas sa 40%. Hindi na healthy. So madaling makita if we have that proper income statement or profit and loss statement. Meron din tinatawag na net profit margin. Okay. So yung decision, for example, if are we going to expand, yes or no? The answer is madaling makita kapag meron tayong net profit margin na nakikita na accurate. No? So, and pag mababa yung net profit margin natin, ibig sabihin mababa siya in comparison to the industry standards, then that's a warning, that's a red flag na we are not healthy. No? Last na is, for example, tinatawag na current ratio, assets divided by liabilities. So, kung ang result nun is less than 1, meaning we are operating in a negative working capital. So, again, that's the technical way. And the only thing na pwede nating magawa para we can have those financial metrics or financial dashboard is through proper accounting process. So yun yung my first set of answers dun sa question. The second one is more on non-technical. No? The biggest warning sign is this. Sinabi ko na ito kanina, we are making sales but the owner or the business is always short on cash. Okay? So that is usually a sign that something deeper dun sa business is broken. Okay? It can be poor pricing, right? The only way we can know if we have poor pricing is if we have visibility again in our cost, and also if we want to compare it with the current market pricing. No? Uncontrolled expenses, no? Mabagal na collection, slow collection, too much inventory, okay? Weak margins or madaming owner withdrawals that the business cannot sustain. So yun yung mga possible broken things na nangyayari sa business. No? We have 5 operating cycles in business. One is yung order to collection or sales to collection. We have procurement to payment. We have planning to and to production. We have payroll, and then we have record to report. Okay. So yung record to report basically is the accounting. Pero yung apat na nangyayari sa businesses na yon, na cycles, maraming profit leaks doon na we don't know. The only way to do that is to analyze the gaps dun sa business processes natin, right? So again, ang first trigger nun is that we are making sales but we are always short on cash, okay? So another warning sign is when the owner starts delaying yung growth decisions because very vague or unclear talaga yung numbers. Hindi tayo makapag-hire ng maayos, yung advertisement cost natin hindi natin masugalan because hindi natin alam, nanguhulang lang tayo. Hindi ka na-decide because they do not know if the business can afford it. The only way to know, again, if the business can afford it, if we have profit and loss statement, we have balance sheet. So when you are afraid to grow, naramdaman naman natin lagi yan di ba? Actually, that question alone, kailan po ba ako mag-expand? No. That's actually, you are afraid to do it. Why? Because the numbers are unclear. Pag nagtatanong ka ng question na yon, ibig sabihin nun, huwag ka munang mag-expand kasi it is a gut feel based decision. Okay? And accounting is already limiting the business. Right? So, yun lang po, Mami N. That's my answer to that question.
Thank you very much, sir. Very comprehensive, no? Ang dami-daming naituro ni Sir Dennis na eye-opener sa atin. Na ganun pala ka-importante. Ganyan pala, no? Kailangan maumpisahan ko na ang aking pagre-record at ang aking paglilista ng mga lahat ng gastusin, lahat ng nangyayari sa aking negosyo. At kung nare-realize mo na rin, eye-opener din sa iyo na hindi siya kasing hirap nung panahon namin. Dahil ngayon, isa lang ang itatype mo, pwede nang ilagay sa lahat ng mga classifications. So dahil meron na nga mga online programs, no? Tulad nung mga tinuturo ni Sir Dennis. So, this is exactly what will change everything for your business from now on, no? So, siguro right after this session, meron na kayong gustong baguhin sa negosyo ninyo. And I really truly hope that you will do that ngayon. Now, marami nang nagtanong ng questions and I would like to jump into the questions here in Zoom. The first one that I see is a question about break-even point. Nasaan na yun? Yeah, it's from Simon Peter Ang. So, Sir Dennis, how do we compute for break-even point?
Alright, so to compute for the break-even, actually medyo technical yung tanong, no? It's actually a formula. But just to give you an idea, you have to first come up with your cost to produce. Okay? If you're manufacturing, for example, product, how much is your cost per unit? Meaning, magkano yung puhunan ninyo, labor, and so on, or direct cost ng ibang tawag natin doon, or cost of goods sold natin per unit. Right? Then from there, pag na-identify natin yun, we also incorporate our overhead. Okay? So when you say overhead, ito yung mga fixed cost. Yung mga fixed cost like rent, salary ng mga ng back office, salary ng basically yung ating full corporate kung corporation tayo, employees, i-take in consideration natin yan to compute for the break-even point. Now, the next question is, if you are going to pag nakuha natin, for example, ang total fixed cost natin is 500,000. Okay? So, i-gross up natin yan paakyat na ilang units ang pwede nating mabenta at this price, to get the break-even point. So, again, madali actually yung fixed cost eh. Ang medyo kailangan ng konting pencil pushing dyan is the direct cost. Yun yung important thing dyan. May I ask, ano bang industry yung nagtanong?
Food daw.
Sa food, okay. So sa food, usually yan, you define your standard bill of materials per product. So sa bill of materials na yun, medyo tricky din yan kasi may mga tinatawag na mga prep items. So, si prep items, like for example, the sauces, yung mga patty, for example, kung burger yan, etc. May kanya-kanyang bill of materials yan. And then, tapos may semi-finished goods, yun nga yung prep items. And that semi-finished goods now becomes the raw material for your final or actual finished goods, yung main menu product natin. So, ang kailangan nating makompute dyan, yung standard bill of materials, meaning yung isang yield of that particular semi-finished goods or finished goods, ano yung mga components niya, and then how much is the cost of that. And ito total mo yun yung direct cost mo. If you want to impute some labor part of it, which is usually 15%, no, ginagamit ng industry, then pwede naman if you want. So now you get your direct cost per unit. Now again, what is our, pag nakuha na natin siya, i-multiply na natin yan according dun sa target natin na sales to come up with a break-even point. So, yun po. May I ask, ano yung exact reason why you want to have your break-even point?
I think what is more important here is the break-even sales. Magkano ba ang dapat kong ibenta para mabayaran yung lahat ng gastusin ko sa aking negosyo? Kasi yan din yung problema namin dati when we had our first food outlet. Tama, no? Need to know daw sales per day that is needed. Tama, yun, no? Kasi dati ang sinabi sa amin is break-even sales ninyo ay 30,000. Samantalang ang sales namin umaabot lang is 25,000. So, ibig sabihin, everyday nalulugi kami ng 5,000. Kaya kailangan alam natin yung ating break-even sales. So, would you want continue answering this, Sir Dennis?
Yes, again, medyo technical, kasi yung kung based tayo sa formula, may tinatawag ng contribution margin ratio, which is somehow yung selling price mo per unit less the variable cost. Then selling price less the variable cost, yun ang i-divide mo again yung sum sa selling price to get the contribution margin ratio. And then pag nakuha mo na yun, i-add mo na yun sa fixed cost para makuha mo yung break-even units mo or break-even revenue or something like that.
And then that is kung it is in terms of months, dahil nga yung rental mo per month, kailangan mo i-divide yon by the number of days, yung mga ganon.
Yes.
I-break down mo yung ililimit mo isa-isa.
Siguro mamaya, very quick na lang. No? So for example, you're selling a product worth 500 pesos. So, and then ang cost mo is 300 pesos. Ang fixed cost mo is 100,000 per month. Alright? So ang contribution margin per unit mo is 500 minus 300. 500 selling price minus the direct cost equals 200. So now, ang break-even unit mo is 100,000 fixed cost divided by 200 is equal to 500 units. So kailangan mo ng 500 units to sell to achieve the break-even. Anything that is already a profit.
And that is for the month. 500 units
For the month.
in a month because your fixed cost is for the month, no? So i-divide mo yun by number of days that you are open. That is the sales that you need every day to be able to, yun yung sales na kailangan mo habulin araw-araw para mabawi mo yung lahat ng gastos mo.
Yes.
In excess of that, kikita ka na. Lower than that, sorry, iyak na lang. Mag-isip ng way kung paano madagdagan ng sales.
Ang kilang po doon is the costing talaga. Maraming doon nagkakamali sa costing. And medyo very technical kasi yung part na yun.
Yeah. Yung costing ang mahirap. Alam mo kung bakit, Simon Peter. Tulad ng manok. Pag bumili ka ng manok per kilo, tapos pag nagbenta ka per order, doon kami nadali. Kala namin ang laki ng kinikita namin dahil nag-costing kami. Yung pala, ang hita pala na dinideliver sa amin, yung drumstick is pig. Kaya instead na, example lang instead na 5 sa 1 kilo, 4 lang sa 1 kilo, kaya 4 na servings lang. Kaya sabi namin, ba't kami nalulugi? Yung pala, masyadong mabigat yung aming mga manok na natatanggap. Kaya yung mga ganon, you have to really compute the costing when it comes to food. Kasi iba yung in na units at iba yung out. Yan. I hope nakatulong, Simon, no? So, okay, let's go to the second one. Ganun din, si Joy Ambrosio. May fried food business kami na existing for 3 taon na, pero medyo hindi po maganda ang pwesto namin dahil kaya siguro walang foot traffic. So if God wills, gusto namin pumwesto downtown, which is mas risky in terms of gastos. May inutang po kaming mga pangkapital and want to make sure na hindi masasayang yung inutang namin. Wise move po ba ito or is there something else na pwede naming gawin para mapaghandaan ang gusto naming tahakin?
Well, okay, ang challenge kasi natin as a startup always is that kung wala tayong brand, okay, magre-rely talaga tayo sa foot traffic. And dun sa foot traffic na yun, medyo ano talaga siya, kailangan strategic ang location natin. Meaning, we really have to analyze yung demographics, sino yung target market natin dun sa product natin, which is also should be part of the brand strategy of any business. So, medyo sugal talaga yan pag hindi natin siya inaral lang mabuti, yung foot traffic na yan. Pero if you ask me talaga, meron kasi sa business, merong difference ng marketing at saka ng branding. No? Maraming nalilito dyan sa marketing and sa branding. So to me, ang analogy ko dyan, para yung mga fun run or pagtakbo. Ang branding is a marathon, meaning it takes time to develop a brand. While the marketing naman, or particularly performance marketing, is a sprint. And as you know, it entails cost, especially these days. Kami ni Mami N, pareho kaming gumagawa ng content for brand awareness and even our marketing. Medyo costly din talaga ang paggawa ng content. Even the organic content, costly yan because mag-film ka, tapos mag-i-edit ka, and kung kaya mo siyang gawin yourself, then makakatipid ka, no? But if not, then you have to hire to do it for you. Similarly sa fast food, para magkaroon ng reinforcement yung food traffic, sasamahan mo siya ng performance marketing, which is basically advertisements plus promos, special offers, and what have you. And then while doing that, dapat meron ka ding small percentage of effort to develop your brand. So actually, those two disciplines, marketing and brand, are totally different. Actually, isang session yan sa Facebook Live in itself, yung two topics na yon. So, but going back to the question, is it a sound decision? Mahirap, to be honest, mahirap siyang sagutin without knowing some more of the details. Who is your target market? What is the product? What is the price points? And what is where is it located? Para we can provide also a sound advice on that question.
Ang dami kong mga mentees na lumapit sa akin, ito rin ang problema nila. Porke meron silang pwesto sa ilalim ng bahay nila sa may garahe, porke merong free na rent, doon sila magbubukas ng negosyo. Kaya yun yung unang ginagawa nila. Saan muna sila maglo-locate? Tapos ano kaya ang negosyong okay? Which is the wrong sequence. So, ang tinuturo ko parate is, hindi tayo mag-uumpisa sa product. Mag-uumpisa tayo sa sino ba ang target market natin? Sino ba ang gusto nating bentahan? At kailangan ba nila yan? Halimbawa, itong fried food business mo, like si Joy, fried food business, 3 taon na. So, bakit ka nagpumwesto doon? Sino ba talaga ang gusto mong bentahan? Kasi pwede namang hindi maganda yung pwesto, tapos focus lang kayo sa delivery. Yung mga cloud kitchen na yan, kung minsan nasa bahay lang So kung walk-in naman ang habol ninyo, ito bang mga walk-in na to ay passers-by? Kasi kung hindi ka naman passers-by, paano kang kakain doon? So siguro kailangan mo lang, instead na pumwesto downtown and whatever, look at muna the potential of where you are. Sino ba ang binibentahan ninyo? Bakit ba sila bibili sa inyo? So, to me, ang atake ni Sir Dennis is really looking at the market. Sino yung market? Looking at your branding, looking at your marketing. I would also look at your business model. Who are the people you are selling to? At bakit sila bibili sa iyo sa dinami-dami ng fried food business? So, mahabang usapan yan. Again, kulang ang data natin. So, it's hard, Tapos may inutang pa kayo na kapital, talagang malaking pressure yan. So, it's hard to just say, go expand or not expand. Even when you expand, hindi siya sure kung hindi mo alam kung sino yung binibentahan mo at hindi clear yung business model. So, let's go to Cheryl Fatima Fetalino asking you, Sir Dennis, what about zero accounting? Complicated ba daw siya for MSMEs? And madali lang ba siyang maintindihan or need bang mag-avail ng tutorial?
Yes. Actually, sa radar ko, I have 3 accounting software for SMEs that I recommend. We have QuickBooks, Odoo, and Xero. Okay, so kung titignan mo yung mga yan, halos pare-parehas ang navigation nila, pare-pareho halos ang features, and what have you. So, to answer the question, Zero is really intended for SMEs. Now, to be honest, medyo biased ako sa Odoo because si Odoo kasi, ang naging positioning nila is that hindi lang siya for small, but pwede na rin siya sa mga enterprise-wide na operations kasi scalable siya to that level. Meaning, as you grow, hindi mo kailangan magpalit ng system kasi on demand you can add additional features or add additional modules in Odoo. For example, you can start with accounting. Actually, accounting alone, which is free forever ni Odoo, is almost on par with the paid version of QuickBooks and Xero accounting. Accounting lang pinag-uusapan natin, ano. When you say accounting, just to clarify, it is comprises with some modules, 4 sub-modules. We have general ledger, accounts receivables, account payables, and cash management. Yung 4 na yun. So, again, yung 4 na yun pa lang is forever free na kay Odoo. Okay? And unlimited users din siya kay Odoo. So, yun yung i-recommend ko. Now, i-compare mo siya sa feature ni QuickBooks and ni Xero, halos pareho lang. Mag-start lang mag-charge si Odoo pag nag-add ka na ng module, which is, for example, nag-add ka ng inventory management, dun pa lang siya mag-start mag-charge, which is so affordable. Like, I think it's about $7 to $10 lang per month per user. It's about wala pang 800 pesos per month per user. So yeah, that's to answer your question.
Thank you, Sir Dennis, no? So when you talk about yung mga modules na yon na free forever, kasama na yun ng pag-produce ng financial statements,
Financial statements, yes.
balance sheet, and cash flow. Okay, thank you. So another question here. This is a question now from Paul Blasco. Sabi niya, what is your recommended ERP software na cost-friendly for SMEs with 10 employees? Right now, Google Sheets lang daw gamit nila. Ni-recommend sa kanila yung Odoo pero hindi pa daw nila naslan. Is it still Odoo?
Yes, still I recommend Odoo na very affordable, easy to use, and siya. Ang kagandahan din, hindi ko rin nabanggit kanina, is that kung gusto mo siyang i-customize later, for example, in the future, madali siyang gawin in comparison to sa ibang ERP na, marami kang additional charges pag magko-customize ka. Like with the likes of NetSuite, Acumatica, Microsoft Dynamics, very expensive ang mga customization yan. Ang history kasi ng Odoo, it started as an open source ERP system. Open ERP ang pangalan niya. They rebranded into Odoo a few years ago, but still open source siya. Meaning you can customize it later on if you want to. Actually, even now, you can customize it anytime.
Thank you, Sir Dennis. That was very informative. No, ito si Sarah Aguinaldo. No, Sir Dennis, what system can you suggest for a small construction business naman? Since iba-iba po ang mga projects. Paano kaya ang efficient way to separate the funds kasi nagkakahalo-halo sa bank account? Thank you po.
Again, yung separation of funds kasi is actually an accounting strategy, no? Accounting kasi is an art. Part of the art is definition of your chart of accounts. What are your profit centers? What are your cost centers? In your case, ang tawag sa inyo is project accounting. Going back to your question, what is the best system for you? Still, sorry bias na wala akong investment sa Odoo. Pero Odoo ako. Okay, so because Odoo supports yung tinatawag na project accounting. So, meron sila you can activate yung analytic na tinatawag nila, analytic distribution, wherein you can tag sales and expenses kung saan project siya nagpo-fall. In effect, you can generate profit and loss per project. And it supports project management. Meron din siyang project management module, to manage your project sa construction. Meron siyang manufacturing module also to manage your materials na ginagamit per project. And also, meron siyang progress billing, which is somehow the model ng construction, na progress billing siya. So it supports construction industry as well. I think may module din siya specifically for construction.
Wow. Okay, thank you. So powerful palang Odoo, na just take it for granted.
Yes.
Thank you. Okay. So itong question ni Joy Lee. Sir, how do you compete in retail wholesale textile market? You want to have a margin but your competitors surrounding you nagbabagsak ng presyo. If sasabayan mong presyo nila, halos wala ka nang kikitain. Probably mura cost nila kasi they have the funds to buy in bulk. What can you say to Joy Lee? Sabi niya, again, meron pang addendum. We sell the same product type and brand. Sa presyo na lang kami nagkakatalo. Magkakalapit din ang mga stores namin.
Minsan kasi, unfortunately, there is such thing as conceding. No? Kapag minsan, if the market really sometimes drops, actually part of the economic cycle yan eh. Darating yung time na masasaturate yung market, dami ng competitors and what have you. Is it really about time na to jump ship, no? And consider other products that can be a savior dun sa ating business. No, kasi kung na-analyze yun na naman lahat, the costing, the competitors, and what have you, branding naman, pare-pareho kayo ng brand. Ano na eh, I think yung most priority talaga is to lessen your overhead. Yun yung one thing that you can look at is to lessen the overhead kasi yung cost part or direct cost of goods sold, sometimes wala kang control dun eh. So ngayon, napoprotektahan mo ngayon yung net profit margin or yung the operating expenses. Kung kaya nyo i-bring down, then probably baka net positive tayo. But while doing that, in parallel, then you explore other products, which is yung, of course, obviously, yung madaling mabenta with the high margin. Yun unfortunate na sagot natin dyan. Minsan, we should know when to quit pag talagang, nag-end na yung cycle ng product.
Yeah, napakasakit, Sir Dennis, ano? Yeah. So, also, with your permission, Sir Dennis, I'd like to share one experience. Last month, merong pumunta sa akin na nag-attend ako ng isang exhibit at nandoon ako, nagbebenta ako ng libro ko. May lumapit na lalaki sa akin. Sabi niya, Mommy N, I just came here purposely to meet you because I want to say thank you. Kasi last year daw, naging speaker ako dun sa isang event nila. Ito daw yung problema niya. Bagsakan ng presyo. Bagsakan ng presyo, bagsakan ng presyo. So, hindi niya na alam kung anong gagawin niya. But because napakinggan niya yung aking talk na you have to go narrow and deep, dapat kung halimbawa, kurtina yung binibenta mo, ikaw yung pinakamalalim, the best when it comes to curtains. So, hanapin mo kung sino yung mga taong pwede pang bumili sa iyo. So, instead na nag-focus siya dun sa bakbakan na market, ang ginawa niya, naghanap siya ng isang segment ng market na mangangailangan ng kanyang product. At doon niya binenta. Kung baga, hindi na siya sa tindahan, nakipagbakbakan, nandun pa yung tindahan niya. Pero meron siyang sinervice na isang market. Hindi ko pwedeng i-share yung kanyang business eh. So yun lang, no? I'd like you, Joy, to look at it, no? Kung halimbawa, textile ito or whatever it is that you are selling, no? Tanungin mo yung sarili mo, sino kaya ang pwedeng bumili ng textile ko na hindi price sensitive? O ano kaya ang pwede kong gawin sa textile ko? How can I create another product out of it para hindi na ako mahirapang makipagbakbakan dito? Kasi sometimes, instead of just throwing in the towel, baka pwede pa tayo mag-isip ng another way. So, I would want you to be able to think of it, no? Ano yung gamit ng bagay na binibenta ninyo na pwede nyong gamitin in a different way at mabentahan ninyo? Yung mga taong bibili sa inyo. Yan. Kasi kung makikipagbakbakan ka ay mahirap talaga. No? So si Marifel Lim now, Sir Dennis, is nagtatanong, pwede pong mag-asaan kami kukuha ng computation sa kita, sa sales po ba namin, or sa quantity ng production po namin in a week?
Alright, so there are two types of profit to. We have the gross profit and then we have the net profit. Yung gross profit is the revenue, which is the top line, gross revenue coming from your actual sales invoice net of VAT, less your cost of goods sold, yung direct cost. So yun yung gross profit. Now, pag binawas mo yung operating expenses, then ang ano naman yan, meron pa palang isa yung tinatawag na EBITDA, earnings before interest, tax, and depreciation and amortization. Sometimes yung mga shareholders or mga investors dun tumitingin. And then after the taxes, amortization, and depreciation, yun na yung pinakang net profit. So dun tayo tumitingin. And bawat isang profit margin dyan, may kanya-kanyang analysis. So, for example, yung gross profit, tinitingnan natin yung industry gross profit, ang gross profit na margin natin dapat 40% for example, and masyadong mataas doon. Then ang analysis natin doon, paano natin pabababain yung cost? Either pababain yung cost, maghanap ng other suppliers na mababa ang cost or magtaas tayo ng presyo para tumaas yung gross profit margin. Pag naman net profit margin ang ina-analyze natin, it is related dun sa operating expenses. Kung mababa yung net profit margin natin, meaning kailangan nating magbaba ng operating expenses para tumaas yung net profit margin or magtaas ka din ng selling price. So yun yung mga binabalanse natin dyan. We have the profit margin analysis. So I hope I have answered the question or tama yung understanding ko sa question.
Sa sales ba daw or sa quantity ng production per week? Pareho yan, Sir Dennis, na nakaka-affect ng kanilang computation ng profit. Kasi yung benta minus yung mga gastos nila. So kung nagkaroon kayo ng quantity of production for a week, magkano yung gastos, yung sinasabi?
Yeah. Yun, pag kasi nagkaroon ka ng production, it becomes an inventory. Okay? It becomes an asset. So, asset pa yun until such time mabenta mo siya, doon ka ngayon kakaroon ng cost of goods sold. So, hindi pwede magkaroon ng cost of goods sold kung walang benta. That's the reason it's called as cost of goods sold. So, pagkaroon ka ng production, asset pa rin siya. No, hindi mo pa ma-analyze doon yung profit. Okay?
Oo, wala pang kita.
Wala pang kita pag nagkaroon ng production.
Yes.
So ngayon, pag nagbenta ka na, doon mo makukuha ngayon yung cost mo doon and then makikita mo yung kita. Yung magkano yung kinita mo o yung gross profit mo pag nakabenta ka na.
Right. No, kasi lalo na pag pagkain yun, pag na-produce mo, paano mong masasabing kita pwede pang mabulok yun, di ba? Kaya importante mabenta muna. Thank you very much, Sir Dennis, no? Ito naman si Tina R. Paano po pag service-based yung business tapos matagal pang magbayad yung client? How do we impose penalty sa client at bigyan ng deadline? By how much ang percentage pag ganun? Actually po, kahit bigyan ng deadline, hindi pa din nagko-comply agad si client. So how to compel them to pay on time? Kasi natatalo na po kami sa paghihintay.
Yes. Actually, it is also a universal problem. Yung tawag natin dyan, yung accounts receivable turnover ratio. And the way to fix it is really to enforce billing and collection policies. It starts with the contract, and then from the contract, dapat talaga ma-explain mabuti yan. And, masabi sa kanila that we are serious in doing that. Kung kaya natin kumuha ng mobilization fee, better. Kasi at least meron tayong panggalaw. And then, maraming strategies. One strategy is meron silang discount pag nagbayad sila early. And mahirap din kasi practically to enforce it, kasi sometimes it affects the relationship, so babalansin din natin siya kaya minsan to the point na you really have to burn the bridge kapag talagang consistent. Minsan maabot pa sa demand letter at to legal issues pag hindi nagbayad. So dapat gumawa lang tayo ng standard operating procedure, ano yung tolerable sa atin, ano yung hindi tolerable. That is balanced with your values. Kasi kailangan mo ng konting incorporation of values dyan ipaglalaban ba natin pag hindi nagbabayad ng 2 years na or not. So those things is nasa discretion ng natin yan kung ano yung tolerable sa atin at saka not tolerable. Pero pinaka-basic talaga is to malinaw sa contract na ito dapat yung payment terms, ito yung penalty. At pag may penalty, dapat talagang sinacharge natin. Kasi minsan, naging lenient din tayo in charging penalties. So that's why, akala ngayon ng client, okay lang. Di ba?
Yes. Yan, no? So, nakikita ninyo, I hope, for people who are watching us now, Sir Dennis, pag kinuha nyo siya, hindi lang accounting ang atake. So, accounting is the start of it. Ayusin niya yung sistema. Pati sistema ninyo ayusin. And, of course, he will also help you sa mga business decisions based on his many, many years of experience as a business consultant. Ang kagandahan kay Sir Dennis is systems thinker siya kasi software developer. So, pag software developer, talagang sistema ang atakehin niya. Kaya you are in good hands with Sir Dennis. Yon. Si Maria Rebecca ko, meron daw siyang 4 na branches. Paano po pag late collection yung isang branch? Kasi ini-involve ko si government. 6 months delayed collection ang nangyayari. Tinulungan na ng isang branch para sa operational expense nila. Ayoko naman umabot sa point na lahat ng branch tutulong. Paano po kaya yon? Is it the same as the previous one?
Yes, pretty much the same concept dun sa previous one. Nangyari lang dun sa configuration ng business mo, may branches ka. So somehow, yung kanina lang tanong is that probably wala siyang branch, no? Pero ang ginagawa niya, nagka-abono siya sa business owner, no? Pag delay ng collection. So similarly, may pinagkukuhan ka ng ibang fund which is coming from the branch, which is I think we both agree na unhealthy yun. We are getting it from other branches. So to answer the question still is that to review your contracts and make sure na to orient your customers na ito yung policy natin when it comes to collection, explain to them the reason kung bakit ganon to help you guys na masustain din yung business, di ba? I think they'll be reasonable to hear those reasons. So yun po.
Okay, thank you. And sir, si Joy Ambrosio humabol. Sa ang platform daw siya pwedeng makadiscuss ng details. Ako na lang ang sasagot dito. I suggest, Joy, diretso ka na lang kay Sir Dennis. We will give you the details mamaya kung paano ninyo makakausap si Sir Dennis, no? Request daw to join sent already. Thank you very much. Si Ash S. Sir Dennis, which is better, Odoo or Zoho?
Yeah, actually similar dun sa sinabi ko kanina, Xero, QuickBooks, Zoho, actually halos pare-pareho yan. Para siyang sasakyan. May Toyota, may Nissan, may Mitsubishi, same, halos yung mga functionality nila, same din yung outcome. But at times, nagkakaiba lang sa presyo, dun sa navigation probably, pero yung journey is halos pare-pareho lang. To me, ang success ng isang implementation ng software starts with the concrete business process, no? Ang common notion or common thinking ng mga business owners, pag bumili ako ng software, masosolve na yung problema ko sa accounting. So it doesn't work that way. So it should be na you analyze your current process first, alamin nyo kung ano yung gaps doon, inefficiencies, risks, and then come up with a concrete business process. No. As simple as, for example, a decision kung magpa-purchase order ba ako pag nag-order ako sa supplier or hindi. Diba? May mga pros and cons yun. Pero pag nag-decide ka na starting today, kung gusto ko ng audit trail, gusto ko ng control pagdating sa inventory, dapat mag-purchase order ako. It's a decision. No? Now, pag na-define mo na yung mga decisions na yan, at saka yung business processes na yan, meron ka ng blueprint to implement the software. No? Alam mo na ngayon kung anong gagawin mo pag ka ng purchase order. Si Xero or Zoho, for example, may purchase order module siya doon. Meron siyang receiving module, meron siyang payable module, etc. Pare-pareho lang sila halos. No? But again, you have to start with the business process first.
Okay, thank you, Sir Dennis. No? Ang dami pang questions, Sir Dennis. Kailangan mag-guest ka uli dito. No? Mukhang sa Q&A pa lang ubos na oras natin. But I cannot...
Sure, Mami. Anytime.
No, so once again, thank you so much for the valuable insights. So at this point, hingi ako ng final word sa iyo for our viewers.
Yes, thank you po again, Mami, and at saka sa mga viewers natin. So final words is that go back dun sa basics, no? Accounting. So accounting is an art of recording, classifying, and preparing financial reports so that we can see yung sinasabi nating financial dashboard so we can make better decisions, no? Kasi kung garbage yung pumapasok na information natin, garbage din yung magiging decision natin. Di ba? Kung messy yung accounting natin, messy yung natin. So going back dun sa statement natin kanina, it's a commitment. Marami din ako mga coaching client na tinuturuan ko ng accounting pero hindi na-follow through because kulang yung commitment nila to execute. So, babalik lang sila dun sa old habits nila. Ano yung old habit na yon? Yung decisions based on gut feel. Talagang sugal lang. So, anong effect nun? Ang effect nun is hindi ka makakatulog kasi iniisip mo kung saan ka kukuha ng pangsweldo o kaya naman yung decision to expand, hindi mo masabi kasi nga, nanguhula ka lang. If you can tolerate that stress, then okay lang, no? Kung okay lang na hindi ka muna ayusin yung mga accounting mo. Pero if you feel na you want to expand, for example, or you're planning to i-turn over sa next generation, sa mga anak mo, wag mo silang bigyan ng sakit ng ulo. di ba? So you have to make a decision and commitment to fix everything now. And hindi siya madaling journey. I'm sure some of you tried several times to fix it. Hindi siya madali, no? So it really takes diligence, time and effort to understand ano ba yung tamang process. Probably, consulting other people who can help you execute. Kung may fund ka, meron kasing do it for you, probably you can commission somebody to help you fix it na wala ka nang gagawin if you can afford it. Pero at the end of the day, it's a decision to fix your accounting so that meron kang financial metrics. So, yun lang po, and thank you so much, Mami, and for inviting me here. And anytime, if you invite me again, I'll make sure na I'll be here.
Yan, thank you. Ang lakas ko talaga sa iyo, Sir Dennis.
Yes, Mami, and of course.
Thank you for sticking until the end, anak. No? So, at this point, Sir Dennis, I'm giving back the floor to you. Please tell your viewers how they can connect with you. So, pakikwento naman how they can contact you and what is the special offer that you have for them.
Yes, Mami, and thanks again. So, you can reach me sa dennismhilario.com. I have a website there. It's a website na meron dong intake form. If you just fill out the intake form so that I can understand a little bit the background about yourself. And then from there, me and my team will reach out to you to book a call with you. No? So if not, you can also visit my Facebook page, Instagram, even TikTok. At Dennis M. Hilario, search nyo lang. Lahat ng social media accounts, even LinkedIn I have. Feel free to message me there. I'll make sure na I will respond. In terms of offer, I have an upcoming in-person accounting masterclass in Makati on July 9 and 10, Thursday, Friday sa Spaceport Makati sa Rada Street. Early bird tayo ngayon, so up to 30 seats lang. So if you want to dive deeper, yung mga pinag-uusapan natin ngayon, kasi pag-uusapan natin doon yung accounting. Even meron din dong tutorial about what's this Odoo tutorial. It's a workshop activity na step by step natin ituturo ang Odoo doon. Meron din akong HR masterclass sa July 2 and 3 sa Angeles City, Pampanga. And then probably hindi pa confirm pero most likely Cebu first week of August. Yung mga Cebuano dyan, Bisaya, pwede tayo. I hope to see you there. No? So just stay tuned dun sa announcement. So sa Dennis M. Hilario, nandun din yung mga self-paced courses ko. Just browse it. You can avail of it anytime. Now, once you avail that, right away you'll get access to some self-paced courses together with the templates, and also meron dong pre-recorded Odoo tutorial as well. So, yun lang, Mami, and again, thank you so much.
And thank you. Maraming salamat ulit, Sir Dennis. It's been an honor to have you here. No, again, thank you very much, Sir Dennis. Thank you very much, everyone. And I hope to see you next Tuesday. And until then, keep shining and keep being business-minded, Pinoy.